What's up, loyal fans as well as parents? This is another episode of our weekly EOWR, and we're here with Blake Murphy.
Hey!
Okay, Blake. Okay, and Isaiah Barton.
Hello!
And today
hey, ¿qué pasa?
Okay. And I think a great way to start this off is by everyone talking about what they learned in class this week, starting with Blake Murphy. What did you learn in class this week?
I learned so much in class this week, but what I took away the most this week, apart from the pillar and
Is
everything else,
faster?
is to talk faster about South Africa, because that's where we're going on the trips, and it's really fun. Well, that's where I'm going on the trips. Walker is going to
Eleuthera, Bahamas.
Yes, he is.
Not to be confused with.
Don't say it. Where is Isaiah going?
Tarapoto, Peru, and
Yeah.
Cusco, Machu Picchu.
Not to be confused with.
Don't say it.
Okay.
Anyways, a group of us are going to Cape Town, South Africa, which is going to be so much fun. And we got a bunch of information on that yesterday. I got appointed speech giver and motivational speaker over the trip, and I'm just looking forward to that because, God gifted us with leadership, and we should take that and just run with it.
A leader's got to lead, as they say.
Boom, Mm-hmm. And even with that, I think that Isaiah should talk.
So, Isaiah.
So, Walker.
What did you learn in class today?
Today,
I mean, this week.
I learned that I'm probably going to be moving camps today in the classroom. I was on the phone. Other than that, we read this book called Just Do Something, which was... Did we all read it?
Yeah.
Everyone raise your hands if you read it.
We all raised our hands.
Read all of it.
Okay, just Isaiah.
I listened to all of it.
I read and listened to all of it, actually.
Then why can't I tell you about Chapter 9 and what Chapter 9 tells us to do?
Tell me about Chapter 8.
It tells us to just make babies.
Well, that's not what
Tell me about Chapter 8. Chapter 8 is all about wisdom
versus intelligence.
No, not versus intelligence.
That is exactly what it said. The intro.
No, that's...
It goes, people confuse wisdom and intelligence.
Anyway, so this book was really good and taught a lot about how to follow the will of God. He has three types of the same will. So he has his direct will. Was that the right word? Decreed will, something like that. I think his decreed will, and then his desired will is his other one, and then the third one is his directional will, which is commonly confused with like the modern, or I don't know, just traditionally confused. I'm trying to think of the right word, but it's not coming out. So they just don't understand it. So this book kind of clarified how what God's directional will is for our lives, and how we can follow that. And the biggest misconception is that God is going to tell us like the entire path, and that's just not true. That he's gonna, not necessarily true. Maybe for some people he will, but for most people, God wants us to rely on him and be dependent on him every day, taking small steps just to get to what he has for us in life. So just being faithful with the small things, and then God will get us, we'll be set off well, and maybe our lives aren't gonna look like they always dreamed, but honestly, like, there's no one ideal perfect place. That's not true. God knows exactly where you're going to be, and he has a plan for our lives, but how we get there is kind of a big thing that we get to work through. So that's kind of what the book is about. Also about wisdom and like making wise choices, because yes, we are dependent on God, but he has also given us enough wisdom. Not enough wisdom. He's given us wisdom if over the course of time, digging into his word, where we can make our own choices, and kind of end up where he has planned for us. So that's what the book is about. Some of my big takeaways.
I think, I don't know, just tell me if you disagree, but I feel like the best example, like one of the best chapters that like kind of summarize the book is the one that talks about Grandpa Van. And it's like talking about how he didn't wait around for God to show his will for him, because that's not how God most of the time works. He doesn't, it's not a blatant thing. It's like you start doing something like as the book title says, and God works through that. So it's like, don't sit around waiting for this giant like moment where God reveals himself to you and his plan for you. Instead, just start doing something, and God will reveal one step at a time what his will is for you.
Absolutely. Another thing that I took away was like not asking God questions like that are super subjective and very pinpointed, because this is something that I will do. It's like I'm asking God about everything. Like, should I go talk to this person? Should I go up to their room? Should I sit here at lunch? I don't know. Maybe not that specific. But just like things that are even non-moral things. And I would just ask him, and I would listen for a yes or no. And this book taught that is not necessarily how God works. It's not up to you to hear a yes or no. And that was just kind of challenging that thought for me. Not necessarily like that's exactly truth, but just something for me to think about and reconsider that, I don't know, that action that I do, that prayer, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, the book was great. Well, the parts I read of it. But I did enjoy it. It was, unfortunately, I had to rush a little bit because I procrastinated, but I did enjoy the parts I read. And also, along with the quiz and the reading of Just Do Something, Donier finished up our last of our 7 pillars, and he finished us off with heart transformation, and I loved this pillar. I felt like I was on such a spiritual high. Like, I felt, I don't know, it was just a euphoric, like that, the whole lecture, I felt like just this sense of spiritual euphoria. The way he communicates is awesome, and he played a few videos that I think we should, I don't know, I was going to say link in the description, but
yeah, sure,
we can do that, yeah. And I think everyone that watches this should watch both of those videos.
What were they?
One was talking about Barabbas and how, like, we are quick to judge exactly, like, Barabbas or, like, Pilate or what, like, the people that it's, like, the bad guys of the Jesus crucifixion story, but in reality, like, Barabbas represents us. Like, we have, like, we're just as, like, broken as he was, and, like, he was a thief and a murderer. Like, all of our sins are equal in the eyes of God, and Jesus didn't just give his life for Barabbas and us. He loves us despite of our trespasses against him, and he gave his life for us. It's a super emotional video. And the other one was, what was it called? It was, shoot, I'm trying to remember. Do you remember exactly what it was?
I don't remember it very much, honestly. I do remember the voice and watching it, but I don't remember exactly what it's talking about.
Was it the one with David?
It's called Waiting by Matt Chandler, I think.
Oh, really?
I think so. Maybe not.
I don't know if that was Matt Chandler.
Really? Oh, wait, no, it might have been the song. Was it the song that he played?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that was
that
Mark Thompson.
Was it Mark? Oh, it was Mark Thompson.
That was last week.
Getting a little confused. That was also awesome. If I figure it out, we will also put it in the description.
There was one video about the where David wrote in Psalms, where it's like, he was like, why is my heart, like, why, like, if I have you, like, why is my heart well, or whatever. But that was, because I remember he showed that at a Q&A as well.
Talking about, like, David being man after God's own heart, and how
it's basically like he committed adultery,
like literally,
murder,
basically rape.
Basically every sin in the book.
Yeah.
But,
and he's still considered a man after God's own heart, and I think it explains exactly why that is, and like the misconception of that phrase, a man after God's own heart.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I would, like, it's so blurry exactly what he said, so I don't even want to try to explain it because I feel like I'm going to butcher it. But I think every one of you should watch that video, as well as one of the biggest points of heart transformation was, I think it's something the church gets wrong so often, and it's just like the fact that they're so quick to modify someone's behavior, and it's like instead of like looking for their heart and how to like literally like transform their heart, and it's like you want to like, hey, stop doing this, like instead of being like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, like it's like we have friends here too that we'll do the same thing. It's like, hey, you should stop saying that, but it's like,
what's their heart like?
Yeah, what's your heart behind it is the biggest question.
That was actually one interesting thing about my P52s is we had Martin as our like group leader.
He's a good one.
And yeah, it was phenomenal. But one of my people, one of the people in my group, they asked about or they talked about how like speech has been a really difficult thing, like cussing and all that, and Martin kind of just brought up like, I think it's more the heart behind it, because he was like, oh, I can say like damn it, but then I can like say dang it and like yell, like be frustrated, and it's like he said one word that society thinks is like terrible and like that's a bad word, like that's a cuss word, but then we can say dang it and mean it in the most frustrating way, and it's mainly just the heart behind it, and kind of just like seeing certain things, how society puts it and how the heart like puts it behind it, I guess, is just like we can look at things differently. Not saying it's an excuse to curse, because there's definitely words that should not be said, but I feel like it's just the heart behind things said. But
absolutely,
yeah, it goes so deep, way deeper than we can think. Yeah.
And I think one of the things he asked us to do is when we're writing our pillar that summarizes this paper, and along with a personal application of it, he said define the difference between heart transformation and behavior modification. And it's like they're two completely different things, but I think that behavior modification is a like effect of heart transformation. You cannot have a transformed heart without behavior modification following. But you can modify your behavior, and your heart can still be twisted behind it, and it's not going to make any difference. So it's like you need to worry about the heart and transform your heart, and then the behavior modification will follow, and that's when you know it's true.
Yeah.
And it's glorifying God.
Yeah, and you can tell by the fruit that'll be produced because of that too. Right. Yeah.
And I think if you consider yourself saved and you have salvation, it's like you need to assess your fruit and whether or not your fruit has like, I don't know, Donier says it's like it's unfair to say there's like you can't say there should be a specific amount of time that passes before you see good fruit in your life after you accept Jesus. But he's like, I forgot exactly what he said. Did he say like 5 years? He's like, if you haven't seen fruit in your life after 5 years, you should reassess your salvation and see where your heart is. But he made it clear that there's not a specific number. But
yeah, but you should still be growing towards that, like right away.
Right.
Yeah.
And actively assessing fruit. I think that's for everybody. Everyone should always be assessing the fruit in their life.
Yeah.
That's good.
Another thing we did this week, I have two things. I've been learning a lot about learning, I don't know, applying a lot more of prayer life just about the next year, which has been really good, just to be really intentional with that this week. And I haven't been perfect, but just like asking God, give me wisdom, like what that we learned from Just Do Something, give me wisdom to be able to make this decision of what to do this next year, give me wisdom what to do this summer, and yeah, just praying through that and being really intentional about that every morning. Because if you ask for wisdom, James 1:5 says that he will give us wisdom. So that's been really encouraging. And then, are you guys going to talk about how we did the iron sharpening iron thing the other night?
Oh,
I don't know.
We can.
We basically just Walker and Caden found this video podcast about. It was
sent to us by a guy we met with through our window washing company.
And it was just talking about how like businesses should say one thing that they love about each other, like the people on a team, and one thing that hurts the team or the people on the team.
Drive them crazy.
Sure. Yeah. So we did that, and mostly, at least, 3 of us. We got through 3 of us, and then we had to go to Wilson's birthday party at Tequila's, which was really fun. But no, that was really good. Just learned a lot about ourselves, and it was just pretty brutally honest. At least we tried our best, which we probably aren't the best at, but just trying to slice each other in the front instead of stab someone in the back, because that always turns out better in the long run, just calling things out as you see them. So, yep.
Just the idea that one of the biggest points of that podcast was saying that if you can assess something that someone isn't doing wrong, or something that they are doing wrong, and you don't call it out in them, that's actually selfish.
Yeah, if you don't call them up.
Right.
And it's hurting them.
Because you're like, you don't want them to look at you differently. And so you hide inside yourself this critique you have. Mm-hmm. But when you could be telling them that to help them. Mm-hmm. Like, you could be making them a better person, but instead you're too worried about your own image.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man, that's a good podcast.
The table.
It's at the table?
Something like that.
Link in the description.
Yeah.
Deal.
What else is there to talk about?
I think...
Are we going over spiritual growth in this week?
Spiritual growth.
Yeah. I think...
What did we learn spiritually?
Yeah. Spiritual growth for me, I feel like I found most of my spiritual growth, that was really close, in the 7 Pillars assignment. So we were able to create our own 7 pillars, and I did not realize how impactful it would have been until I started. But now that I have them, I am going to try everything in my power to live by them. Which I've already taken time to send them to friends and send them to some family members and see what they think of them, and even just shepherds and leaders here. I've been really wanting to show those off, and yeah, it's just, I don't know, I feel like I put a lot of thought and time into that now that it's something I do want to live by, and eventually down the road possibly lead my family in that, because I know Donia has his personal 7 pillars at his house, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, pretty cool this week to do that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I'm going to share one of my 7 pillars because it kind of goes along with what I have been learning spiritually. The reason I think I did it is because how convicted I've been of it recently, and it's I love evangelism. I love preaching the gospel to those that have never heard it, or just the idea of it. Honestly, it's way it's a way better idea in my head than I actually practice it. Or it's like I think about it more than I actually practice it. And it's like, what am I waiting for? Like, why am I not treating it with the urgency it deserves? So I made one of my pillars is just literally just says go. And I said I'll set aside my selfish ambition for an evangelistic heart that beats with urgency. And the verse behind it is Matthew 28:18-20.
Say that one more time. You'll set aside what?
My own selfish ambition for evangelistic heart that beats with urgency.
Gotcha.
Because it's honestly, it's so selfish that I have this gift that has been given to me, and I have the opportunity to share it with everyone, but I don't a lot of the times. And Xander says all the time is like, how much do you have to hate somebody not to share an eternal gift like you have? Yeah. And it's so convicting. So I just want to go. That's what I want to do. I want to go.
Yeah. Amen.
That's good.
Did we have any fun this week, boys?
I had tons of fun.
Really?
Yeah. Let me tell you a little bit about it.
How'd you have some fun?
I don't know if you have heard of the artist Noah Kahn, but
tell me about him.
Yeah, he's just this artist that I got introduced by really cool shepherds. I
bet he likes Vermont.
I think he loves Vermont. Yeah, Nathan Quam, I'm pretty sure was the one playing it, or it was Tanner Cranford that was playing it in the van on the way to Urban Entry, which was phenomenal. We've already talked about it in past episodes, but they were playing Noah Kahn on the way, and I started listening to his songs, and now it's like all the guys here have been listening to him, but we have been singing his song Stick Seasons nonstop, and it has just been so fun with the guys. Even we went to Silver Dollar City for TGIF today, and on the way back, it was me, Walker, and Paul in my front seat just blaring that and singing it like from our hearts, and it was awesome.
Mm.
But Isaiah was in the back seat, and I bet he was singing it too. But the amount of vocals and the amount of volume that was coming from the front seat, couldn't really hear anything in the back seat. But still love that. He probably put it in effort, and want to appreciate him for that.
God could hear me.
Yeah.
Real.
Even though it's not real.
God's
worship.
always listening.
Yep.
What did you do that was fun this week?
Great transition. I was gonna say I've been doing boxing workouts, which is true, and they're really fun, and I just feel a lot more comfortable and coordinated. But also, we went to this Top of the Rock place, and we were in some of us, Blake was driving, and Walker and I and Caden and Isaac were all in the truck bed on 2 mattresses, and that was just really fun. It was really cold. I wasn't necessarily in the best attitude by the end of it, but at the same time, it was still good and still fun. I was freezing cold, but we also had a really good talk about who we all have crushes on at Top of the Rock, so that was a good time. That's
guess what Isaiah has a crush on?
That's disclosed information. And there's nobody. Walker, you also went in a truck today. Where did you go?
I got in a truck. And I went.
Wow.
To Silver Dollar City. Blake already spoiled it a little bit. TGIF today was Silver Dollar City, and it was awesome.
It was awesome, honestly. I had the best time.
It was like, I love that place so much.
I was blindfolded on Outlaw Run today.
I wish I saw that.
Yeah.
I was a little too late.
I couldn't see anything.
Wow. Wow. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, me and Blake were munching on some grilled cheeses while Isaiah was on
really
that.
So good.
They were really
Were you guys just eating the whole, like, when I was doing all the rides?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Really good.
Yeah, it was.
No,
it was
like,
expansive.
Yeah, it hurt our wallets, but it was very good.
Expansive.
Beans with yeah, so we had a lot of fun today, this week, and today. We all learned spiritually and intellectually.
Yeah.
I'd just like to say, sober me would want this.